Greetings, dear Stalkers, and welcome back to the Grymm Mansion. My name is Abominathan, your most hated rodent scientist, and this is my co-host.
Weird Eldridge. I'm your dazzling wino occultist.
Great. And tonight, we are delving back into the analog horror genre. This time it's nothing like what we've had in the past, with the other episode.
Not in the same experimental type of
Yes.
shenanigans, but
yeah, this was a bit more normal than the other one. But still, it is analog horror, and is by design it is a genre that is different from the others. And this one specifically is an anthology. So that's already going to be interesting for us to talk about.
something that we are a bit more familiarized with.
Yes, indeed. Tonight we're talking about VHS 94.
The candles have been lit, the circles have been closed, and the words of power have been recited. Let us begin tonight's gathering. We are sent back to the good old year of 1994.
Oh yes, some could even call it the apex of entertainment, because of all the great stuff we got in the 90s. Of course, this was not made in the 90s. This was produced in 2021, but it is set, as the name implies, in the year 1994. And because this is an anthology, we're going to have to make this episode a little bit differently. So this is essentially
going to end up like one of Nathan's victims. We're going to chop it up into little pieces and digest each and every one slowly before moving on to the next one.
Yes, although the digest yes, you could say that. Yes. Analyze it. I would just say analyze, not digest, but we're on the same page, I think. So we have a framing device, like I believe all of these movies in this franchise all have that in common, at least the big ones.
Because you told me that there were like a couple of spin-offs or something like that. Might not be.
There's the franchise is
right
bigger
away. Let's
than
just
I
say that this is the only movie that we've watched.
Yes, it's the first. Series. Yeah. I did not have. I okay.
Other priorities.
Let's say first. Yeah, it only had come to my attention that this series even existed a few years back. It's quite a recent, even though like I hadn't paid attention to it, even though it's been around for a while. And I got really interested in specifically VHS 94 because it's what I saw 2 years ago.
And so the opening scene, right?
Yes, I saw a couple of
the first story. Sorry,
I was I doing some stuff to a victim of mine, and I noticed that on the those rectangle things, the smartphones,
black mirrors they keep in their pockets.
Yes, it was like actually like it was still on. I had tapped it; it was still on, and this person apparently was in the middle of scrolling this site called Twitter, I think. And there was this video, and I watched it because I was interested. I was like, what is this? And it was a little snippet from actually the first short film of this movie, and that just piqued my interest instantly. I was hooked, and I was like, I gotta see this. And so yeah, that's the backstory behind. So yeah, should we just go jump right into the first, or not the first, but the.
Should we? No, I feel like we should talk about this framing device.
Yeah. So first,
the
firstly,
movie starts right in a like there's thoughts of a bleeding VHS tape, that shows someone counting back from 10 after sniffing something, like if it was a sort of anesthetic. This person had as their eyes gouged out.
Yeah.
Okay. And we then start following this van of SWAT guys that are going to raid compound where they expect people to be manufacturing some sort of drug.
Yep. They make all these witty jokes and stuff. They're like really
Yeah. It's just another Tuesday on the job. But as they breach through, they found that this compound is completely devoid of people. There's a creepy voiceover on the PA system that's telling the followers to find the signal, that the signal is stimulant, the signal is sedative, the signal is salvation. Forever starts right now. I'm quoting, end quote here.
Yeah. Creepy stuff.
They find more people like dead with their eyes gouged out and resting like next to them.
Yeah, and this like weird goo or something on like
on the floor.
Yeah, and sometimes
and
I
all
see,
over
like,
them.
just eyes like scattered around. Just
Yeah, no, the people don't have eyes, and they have this same pair of eyes like just resting near them, like on the armchair or by their hands, or it's always like close by.
Yep.
And then we see like a fallen TV that turns on, and the TV anchor explaining us like what the internet is.
Oh yeah, so the framing device, it kind of continues as the SWAT members are like exploring this facility, and they find, so on the TVs and on screens, they find, I guess, these tapes which start playing, or they start playing them. I can't remember, but like
they start playing like just out of the blue, essentially.
Yes. So these tapes are what then become the 4 short stories that make up this anthology.
So from now on, we are going to focus on the stories, and we will get back to the SWAT team later.
Yeah, to wrap the whole thing up.
Just keep them in the back of your head.
Yep.
So go ahead, please. You open up with this first story.
All right. So, first story is called Storm Drain, and as you said, it began.
Wait. Sorry. The way that this is framed really makes me want to get close to our Earth. So would you mind?
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you. Much comfier.
Yeah, nice. All right. So this opens with images of a newscast explaining what the internet is, and just, this is called
kind of like an infomercial.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They're trying to explain it at the same time that they're trying to sell you like one of those shiny discs that you would insert in one of those damn machines you have.
Mm-hmm. It's called Channel 6, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like so far it's very like nostalgic, like 90s TV. And then we cut to this news story. Actually, no, they are so in that same segment. So they're the two presenters are talking about a news story about the legend of the Rat Man. They kind of dismiss it as an urban legend, but they do send reporters to investigate. And then they cut to these two reporters, Holly and Jeff, and they're interviewing people just on the street about the Rat Man. Like there's they interview like two people. I think it's two like I can't remember what they are.
They interview like a person who claims to have seen it, who says it was probably like either a huge rat person. They interview an American patriot
Oh
who
yes.
is like on the lookout with his shotgun
Yeah.
or automatic
Yeah, so
rifle,
wait.
like looking out for. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they interview this priest. And the priest
Oh, I was going to get there.
okay, I think we need to go in order. So they interview the priest, and the priest is like, this is a sign from Jesus. I don't remember exactly what he says, but it's like it's a reminder like that people should seek salvation.
Yeah, repent. Jesus is coming.
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah. The
rapture.
rapture is coming. Yeah. And then they interview this this American patriot guy, and he's like next to the sewage entrance, like the right next to like his
The drain pipe.
the drain pipe, and he's pointing with his gun like a rifle, an assault rifle, just pointing towards the entrance and saying, look, like he saw him once over there, and this just freaks out the two reporters, and they're just like, Holly has like kind of a charismatic. It's kind of a charismatic character. I actually quite like her.
Yeah.
She's like, oh man, like these people are crazy, and then we just see like an interaction between her and Jeff. And I don't remember exactly what happens, what they say, but it's like she just like tells him to fuck off. It's just
Oh, I think he asks her out. I'm pretty sure he asks her out,
Oh.
and she's like, "Jeff, you."
Nice. Yeah.
I think that was it.
That maybe because I don't really have a sense for the stuff, but you know
Oh,
you're more in.
yeah. Regardless,
Yes.
they take it to the storm pipes, or whatever, to the drain pipes, where assumedly this rat person is. Until they come across the belongings of someone. And feeling extremely bad for the local community, I guess the reporter decides that since the other story was complete bogus, that she was going to make a story on this. That this is something that she should report on.
Yeah, yeah. So they start filming the. Frankly, it's kind of disgusting the way that they're just touching everything and like clearly there's
Yeah,
people living
agreed.
here and they just like start like
Things
looking.
that don't belong to them.
Like man, these mortals they never learn.
No respect is a lack of, but fear not, they'll get what's coming to them.
All right.
They film the locations until they get startled by something that they assumed that it was this. Of course, they were freaked out, thinking it was the creature, the rat man. And they turned the camera to it, and they just realized that it's someone who lives there.
The hobo. And he's like,
Well,
he has
this homeless person.
his entire
That's some
body
respect.
is
Covered in grime.
is just black from
Yeah.
it's yeah. And Holly kind of kneels with the pointing the microphone to him to kind of ask some questions, and she asks like What's your name? I think he doesn't respond. And she asks if like he's heard of the.
No, he does. He does. He does. His name is Bill.
Oh right, yeah. So he answers his name is Bill,
Yeah.
and she asks if there are other people living with him, or if there are other people here living in the sewers. And he replies, Ratma. And if I remember correctly, she asks, "Are you the Rat Man?"
No, she just like, can you repeat that? And they get freaked out. He starts spewing ichor from his mouth, smiling,
Yeah,
and that's when they freak out and just start running.
yeah. No, but before they run, she actually drops like she puts the her business card on the ground. Like,
Yeah.
here, take my.
That's true.
Oh man, I love this character. Um,
I take my business card.
yeah, and then they start fleeing from the sewers. Holly actually disappears with a scream because that's the usual stuff that happens in horror movies. And so the cameraman Jeff is looking around without knowing what to do, and then he realizes like he turns to his left and there's another person in his way, and I believe he passes out at this point. The camera cuts.
Probably gets grabbed.
And then we see a new shot of the camera near Holly's face, first kind of out of focus. She's passed out on the floor, and she slowly starts gaining her senses, and she looks around, and she doesn't know where she is. And she starts to she sees that she is surrounded by these, I guess, these homeless people, similar to the other to Bill.
Oh, they do have a house.
Yes. And she starts to basically, she still is in the mindset, oh, these are homeless people, I'm gonna help them. And as she's saying that, somebody replies, How? How will you help us? And she turns, and the camera turns, and it's the priest. However, it is quickly revealed that this priest is no regular priest. No. This is somebody who has adopted a new cult. And once again, he explains, and by the way, Jeff is also there. He's also, they're both kind of being held, surrounded by these people. So they're at the mercy of the priest and the others. And the priest explains about the Ratman, or Ratma in this case, and how this is their new god. And the priest actually calls into like a hole, a sewage hole on the wall. He calls upon Ratma, and we just see this figure slowly peeking through the hole, walking on 4 legs. And we barely see it because it's filmed from like far away at this point. The priest puts like a plate, like a kind of bowl, under the creature, and the creature pukes this black ichor, as you said, just filling it. Mhm.
I just want to. Sorry to interrupt you, but there's one detail that I need to mention about this creature that I don't want to go. I don't want it to go unnoticed.
Go ahead.
For everyone
Go
else, okay? when they call it Ratma or Ratman, it does walk on four legs, but the peculiar thing about this creature, it's his head. Okay?
Mhm.
If you could imagine what uh, a rat's head would look like on a human body, you're close to it. The only thing you need to imagine is that instead of a snout, the rat would have a human face.
Yep.
So this stuff is really the stuff of nightmares. I mean,
Yes.
the design is 5 stars.
It's
Like it's
freaky. It's horrifying. I love it.
amazing for creativity. It's really good, and it's all in practical effects.
Yep.
There is no. It's all practical.
Yeah.
It's all
I
practical
actually I
effects.
actually saw the suit that they used. There's actually pictures of it on the internet. So yeah, it is a suit that they actually, and it's quite, it's not they didn't go overboard with it. They did it just the right amount. And the fact that they show it in like this poorly lit ambience, just like most of it is just in darkness, makes it feel so real. And yeah, it's really well done.
Yep. I don't know where the inspiration came from. I don't know what kind of creatures the guy behind this short movie has seen or what he's dreamed about.
Well, we're gonna get to the analysis later. Um, Sorry,
It's just really cool.
but yeah, it's great. So the priest takes this bowl full of this black goo, tries to. I remember when we watched it, you compared it to baptizing. He
Yeah.
just pours this liquid on Jeff's head, and Jeff starts screaming, and his skin starts burning. And
Peeling off.
yeah, as the ichor starts entering, I guess his eye sockets in his mouth, he burns from the inside and he dies.
Face melter!
Wow. And the priest's justification for that having happened to him is that he was not worthy, and he says
He was not chosen.
he was not chosen, but that perhaps Holly was. Instead of doing the same in the same fashion to Holly, he actually grabs Holly. She's obviously, screaming and,
Kicking and doing whatever she wants to, like.
yeah, we've all seen it by now with mortals react, how they react to this stuff.
Playing the victim.
Yeah. And the priest actually takes her right up to the mouth, I guess, of this creature to be directly puked on. It's the best way I can describe it. And we see just these creepy, and this time we actually get it zoomed in. We really see as you said, like the snout, or sort of like the mouth, the
The
face.
human face, but the snout of the rat, because the rat's eyes are like in the back of its head.
Yeah,
It's so creepy.
it's crazy.
Did it have eyes behind those eyes, or was it really its face? I can't remember.
Well, I think we're not supposed to know.
It was so beautiful anyway.
No, it was crazy. It reminded me a bit of some scenes from Alien. Just the whole kind of. I know it's completely different genre, but it did have some. It felt familiar to me. And yeah, just this shot of like her crying and screaming while like the drool is put over her head, and she survives. She doesn't actually burn. So the priest was right. She was worthy. Got to an ad of like a
Veggies.
yeah, a veggie chopping machine for some reason, and that's all, like that's credited as like that was created for this as well. I don't know what that was. Was that supposed to be like
A reference to a product? someone who was known for doing something like that back in the day. I don't know, I've never watched too much Mortal TV.
Oh yeah, it was never really my intention. Yeah, we didn't have a TV back then on the Grymm Mansion. We still don't. We actually have like the crystal balls, but that's beside the point.
We had one. May it rest in peace.
Yep.
Anyway, doesn't really matter. The ad ends, and we cut to the same reporter from the beginning of the story, who is now telling us about the story we were just watching.
Reporting on the.
If you're still following, they add to remove the Holly from the drain, and I remember you noticing her face.
Oh yes,
and how she was just staring in shock at the camera, like
if you notice, it's not quite sure. I can't even describe it. There's something in her expression. If you if you compare her from before and her now, there's a very clear difference.
yeah, it's the 1,000 yard stare, exactly. It's
But
the
there's so much in her expression. I loved that expression. Like it's just there's
it's
so much
the
there.
blank, unfocused,
Yes, and there's
just vacant,
yes,
void of anything
yes.
aside from shock.
I didn't even see shock necessarily. I felt like there was like
No, because
a lack of
the shock.
emotion, you know.
Hey, sorry, the shock is gone already. But
Yes.
she's been through this traumatic event, and she's in catatonic state, being literally dragged out of a sewer.
Yes, but at the same time, and this will get more obvious later. I do think there's something else in that, in that expression, because then we cut to the TV presenter sitting on his desk with Holly right next to him, and she's explaining. She's not really explaining what happened, but they're playing it off like everything's fine, she's talking to him. And then she starts saying some weird things.
Like in the middle of the sentence, instead of saying burger, she would say Ratma.
Yeah, like some weird things. And the other presenter, like he notices, but he doesn't say anything. He's just like, "What? Why is she just going off script?"
She herself doesn't notice.
Yeah.
She herself has like, she shakes her head and like, what am I saying?
And then, so kind of in the middle of that, she starts puking this black
On the other act, on her
yes
co-anchor.
yeah she
projectile vomiting, exorcist style, all over him.
Yeah, and he starts burning, like alive, like his face. Yeah, his face literally melts. His eyes just kind of pop out, and yeah, it's horrific. And I just love is like how Holly, when she kind of composes herself, she's so nonchalantly just playing it off like, anyway, and just just finishes the program, does like the outro. And by the way, we are here.
While everyone is screaming.
Yes, the staff.
Everyone's panicking.
The staff is just like running off the doors. You hear like you hear things falling. You see like the
stuff breaking. The camera.
The camera tilts a little bit, and but Holly just keeps keeps doing her job, and then she looks at the camera that's fallen on the ground. And she just finishes it off with Heil Ratma. And oh man, this is the best ending. I can't think of a better ending for this. It's just
no, yes, this was definitely,
it was perfect.
Spoiler alert for anyone listening.
Oh, the others aren't as good.
This just goes straight downhill from here. This is the best one out of them all.
All right, so analysis. As we've already talked a bit about like the design of the creature, Ratma.
Yeah, I think this is where this story really shines. is in the use of low budget, limited people and limited sets, and having the like that constraint breeds creativity,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um, what they were able to do on such short whatever was so impressive.
yeah, and
Really,
yes, and
it was so well written.
mhm.
I think there was like one line of dialogue where I was like, no, sorry, it wasn't even on this story. My bad.
Nah,
No, yeah, this I think this story was for a short story. It was as close as perfect of like you could get. It was really really good.
yeah. Yeah, no, starting with this was really like they really started with their strongest one. Um,
Yeah,
and
opening with the banger.
yes, as you said, really well written. I love just the way, like, because it felt like the characters weren't really taking it seriously, and that made it more realistic to me somehow.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Both reporters, the reporter and the cameraman, were both speaking like people.
Yes, it
You know,
felt real.
the patriot was stalking her. You are made to assume that he's the guy that's somehow behind the cult. Like later on, when the priest appears, you're like, oh my god, it's the patriot, and then, oh my god, it's the
I
priest,
mean, to be honest,
because he's stalking her throughout the. He feel to me, he felt like it was like the red herring. You know,
yes, yes.
that's what I'm trying to say anyway.
The yeah, the fuck. Just guessing
The fact that you have a red herring on such a short story,
yes.
it's so very complete. It's very well written.
Mhm.
There was no need for much of the things that they've done, but all they did and end up bringing it to a level of so much higher compared to the other stories.
Yeah, I still don't get what the veggie cutter was about, but yeah, everything
Uh,
else just
I think that I remember feeling the same because um, I felt like the story was over like once or twice, you know?
mhm,
I felt like once the guys were caught by the sewer people, that
that it was it.
that was that. That was that, you
Yeah,
know?
because usually
And
usually this kind of shorts do end like
yeah,
that.
it's
It's a very common
yeah,
ending.
because
Uh,
it would have been a mysterious ending. I had no idea
yeah,
whatever was there,
yeah, yeah.
and leaving shit for the
But I'm
imagination
so
would.
glad that was not over because yeah,
Honestly, I would have been like weird that you ended here, but okay. Then in the veggie masher, I got the same fake out. And by that time I was like, okay, if this is done here, I'm pretty happy. Because again, I'll remind people that this was the first movie that me and Nathan watched on this.
yeah, yeah.
Um
We didn't know how many there were, so
yeah, we had no idea how this was going to work, how the cuts between each of the stories was going to be made. So I had this fake out moment again, and when the story comes back, by the second fake out, I felt like even better. Okay, if the story ends here, this story was great. This was really good.
yeah.
But when they bring it back and they end it with the the caster scene, the live thing.
The
What's it called?
broadcast, the
Studio, the sound stage, like the live stage where they're recording the show, the news. That scene just was like cherry on top
yeah.
of the cake. It was really good.
I'm a huge fan.
Rob Madame, this was really really good.
Yes, I agree. I've always been a fan of this kind of genre of, in a way, kind of a satirical approach to the news or to just TV in general, TV broadcasts. And like I feel like analog horror, this is analog horror at its best, is when it just, it's TV essentially. and it feels like TV, but something's wrong, very wrong. I just, man, I just love that.
And they didn't overuse any filters like the VHS bleeding or
Yeah, it was all very
weird zooms or anything like that. Like it happened like once or twice maximum.
Yep.
It was really well pulled off. I'm sure it wasn't that I mean, it couldn't have been that expensive to make, assuming that everyone has like a limited budget or like the same amount of money.
Yeah, there were like,
I have no idea
how
how the
many
production for this one worked.
how many actors were there? Like 10, 9? There's not many. So
No idea. I'm sure that they reused people.
yeah, because you had like essentially like 5. I mean, counting with the priest, you had like 5 main characters. Actually, 4 main characters, because like the presenter, the 2 reporters, the priest. It probably wasn't very. This was low budget.
15 people on camera, yeah.
Yeah. How would you rate?
And you even had time for sorry, I'm not done.
Okay.
Because it was really it was not really complex, but you had time to still put in stuff like social commentary,
Yes.
for the sewer people and how they were being treated. You had time for a religious diss with the priest being the guy behind the brainwashing and seeing it as a sign from Jesus and whatnot. Essentially,
Yep.
just using it to exert his power over slaves, essentially, because
Yeah.
I'm sure that he wasn't baptized like the others were,
Oh, that's a good point.
Or maybe he was. I don't know.
No, I feel like he was a servant of Ratma as well. Like I feel like he was using Ratma. I think
I really even feel like this Ratma creature, he's not even a god, he's just being misinterpreted.
that's possible.
I
Yes.
kind of want to go rescue this creature and just keep it here in the mansion for protection.
Yeah, because
He's being used as a tool of
yeah, like
for the benefit of this guy.
wouldn't you want to have a Ratma like a
Yeah,
pet
I was
Ratma?
about to say it. I didn't want to interrupt and save it for this bit. We are going to work on one. Definitely. We have
I wonder if I
to.
can make a Ratma. Yeah. Would I,
If
would I? How many?
With my help, we'll be able to. I'll
How many?
pull some books and see what you can do.
How many bodies would you need to make a Ratma? I don't know. Like 3.
Person, 1. Rats.
We can make it work. We'll see. We'll get back to you on that once we.
Flesh carving is an art, my friend.
Yes, indeed.
All right. What would you rate it?
Oh, what would I rate this? Storm Drain. I would rate this short 10 rats out of 10 drains.
I'm gonna put it down as 8 cheese pieces out of 10 rats.
Huh.
Point is, it was definitely the best.
It was great. Yes.
All right. So let's skip ahead to our second story. Because we get a little interlude with the SWAT team playing around, but we don't really care about that. Nothing.
Yeah, we'll talk about
nothing
that at
really
the end.
Yeah. So this second story, it's called The Empty Way. It essentially starts out in the funeral home with a wake that's being taped.
Oh yeah.
Much to the chagrin of the assistant, who seems to be new, not very experienced in these things. Her boss is telling her that it doesn't matter how crazy the request is, we must do it since it's the person's last request. At least they respect this kinds of things, and it's good to see.
Yeah.
Then I guess the second assistant, or the guy who prepares the bodies, I later find out, notices that the casket is crooked, and before they leave, they arrange it, since it's a bit heavy of a casket. They leave, both of them, leaving the assistant alone
I believe there's
in
a
there.
there's a line that he says, which I remember you said was really weird. In which he
Oh yeah, yeah.
explains kind of what happened. That the guy was in an accident and they had to like do the best they could, but they couldn't like quite keep the guy in one piece, something like that.
Yeah, he was essentially explaining what he was doing more to us than to
Yeah,
the
it felt a
people
bit
in there.
weird. The
Course,
line,
this is when like my immersion was just shattered.
but anyway,
Good that you remembered because I didn't even have it here. But yeah. So she seems to be taping herself for like what seems to be hours.
yeah, we have a lot of cuts.
Until yeah, she like first then she's in the first row, then she's in the back, then she's speaking to someone on the phone, a friend of hers. It's actually important to mention that. But she starts hearing some banging noises coming from the casket. He gets freaked out, even more so because the storm outside seems to be so big that the lights go out. And well, she's looking for matches, I think, or tinder to light these candles. The lights come back up, and she notices that the casket is about to fall over.
Yeah.
Obviously creeped out, she starts, you know, hitting the casket, like knocking. The casket bangs again. Now she's definitely sure that something is in there. She calls her boss, who like assures her that whatever it's in there, it's dead. That she doesn't need to worry. That since it's like her first time, that this is normal. Yada yada.
It's interesting.
Clearly, this guy's never seen a horror movie.
Yeah, it's interesting the fact that nobody's coming. Like maybe
Yeah,
they even mention like it's kind of weird. Like maybe nobody liked the guy.
it is the empty wake.
Yeah.
But just as they say this, someone does come in.
Oh yes. Creepy dude.
There's this old man who comes in to pay his respects. He doesn't say much. She asks him if he's either a friend or family, and his answer is silence. He just sits down and starts speaking in Hungarian.
Is it Hungarian? Like I didn't understand what the hell was going on there.
I am pretty sure he's speaking Hungarian.
It sounded like he was casting a spell.
Yeah, exactly. From the way he has his hands up and he keeps his eye contact with the casket, it seems to be a spell. After that's done, he straight up leaves. No further explanation.
Yep.
Then I think she's somehow to pass the time a little bit more. She's on the phone with her friend who is on the process of telling her that this guy he made the front page of the news, being the crazy guy who was spewing nonsense from the top of the church before plunging down to his death. The power goes out again, and since they're speaking on a landline, they lose connection. And this is when the casket bangs again and drops down.
Yeah, I think she goes. Doesn't she like try to leave or something? Yeah. She tries to leave and it's locked. Wait a minute. Yes, the doors are locked from the outside, right?
Probably our Hungarian friend who locked the doors on his way out.
Damn. And then when she comes back, the casket is open.
Yep, completely empty. We see our friend who's just. You wanna keep going? Go on.
No, I was just gonna say yeah. Like there's our dead guy is standing up next to like in front of a wall, and Haley just asks,
That was her name?
I
I'm
just
terrible with names.
because I just I just looked up on Wikipedia, so I'm
The what?
literally seeing it. Haley.
No, you looked where?
I looked on like I have Wikipedia open, so I just looked.
All right, go on.
Um. So yeah, so Haley is like, she's kind of clueless. She's like, hey, she kind of like tells him like asks or like tries to kind of rationalize the whole thing, and then when he turns to her, half of his face is missing. Like half of his head is like split in two. So like he just has one eye,
No, not even that.
and not even that.
No, in his body you can't see. His face is completely messed up.
You're right. Like he has, yeah, most of his head is gone. It's just a hole, giant hole in his head.
Where his upper jaw should be.
Yes, and yet he still hears, and he turns to her and he starts running towards her, like trying to just like acting like a zombie, I guess. So yeah, they kind of they kind of do this for a while. Like he's chasing after her, but he can't see her, so she tries to not make noise, and then she tries to hide behind the casket, but she notices that the rest of his face, the rest of his head, is just lying there on the ground, and apparently his eyes move because I guess the both of his, both of his body parts, like all of his body parts are still functioning even though they're separated. And yeah, so his eyes turn and look and see her, and so he knows exactly where she is, and he attacks. And the camera cuts.
Does it?
I think the camera cuts here.
Ba, ba, ba.
Like he lunges forward. We see
No,
like a bit
yeah,
of
he
like
lunges forward. No, the camera cuts because the storm passes through the funeral parlor and completely destroys it. The last thing we see is the camera is still on, upside down, and the last thing we see is the girl getting up and jumping out the window.
by the way, the window of the first floor. So she's
I have
essentially
no
just
idea.
yeah. She crawls through the window into the surrounding area. So she doesn't jump out the window, but it's yeah. It's
Well,
man.
it seems
You want to
like she just jumps.
yeah, let's just go into the analysis then. Um, I still don't understand what happened. I'll be honest.
What you don't get?
Um,
Our friend Jesus came back from the dead.
uh, is that what happened?
Well,
Like, what was the guy like? wh- the Hungarian guy? What was it? What was his the whole deal? Like,
perhaps this
this whole thing's
is.
just confusing.
It could be a demon possessing this guy, and maybe our Hungarian friend here is the equivalent of Nelson, and he's just trying to
Trying.
contain this creature.
Honestly, I don't remember. I remember her crawling out, but I don't remember anything after that. Like, she just like leaves, and we don't see anything else happen. Like she could have left into a balcony and then jumped off of the balcony. We don't even see that. So it's weird. Like,
It's like she doesn't make a run for it, or she just steps out, but like since the camera is upside down, it doesn't really seem like she's falling.
what's interesting is that she's been possessed by Andrew's spirit. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know what would have made sense. This whole thing just confuses me. Seriously. Um,
Interpret it however you like it. The way I interpret it is that like it maybe could have been, yes, some sort of
I feel like
evil spirit that was
mm,
controlling this man, and now it's on her. Yes.
I feel like I react to this story the same way that you reacted to Alien. I just yeah, it's hard for me to understand what's going on. Um,
No,
but yeah,
I'm not gonna say it was great. I mean, it wasn't. Um,
the writing
it was
wasn't great.
serviceable. Exactly.
I think
It was essentially a one girl's job to save this movie and
yeah,
save the story. And
it had an interesting premise, but I really felt like it didn't go anywhere with it. Like it just
yeah, there's a lot also left to interpretation. I can understand
yeah,
that. Um, Not knowing what our Hungarian friend was saying is,
yeah,
it makes it harder since I could infer what kind of either spell incantation he was casting. You could try to figure something out, see if it was either well intended or not.
yeah.
We can argue that if the doors were locked from outside, he was the only other person that was there was the guy, so
He did
he
it.
probably did not have the best of intentions
Well, he
towards.
yeah, like he basically locked her with Andrew. Like
Mhm.
if he had good intentions, he could have just told her, "Hey, come with me," and
Yes,
that's it.
yes, of course.
Or like talk to the other guys. Like they were mentioning like, oh, if you say anything else, you're gonna get fired. But like, what about somebody else saying that? Like somebody, okay, of course, there's the whole thing of like, these are mortals that have no knowledge of the occult. So if you tell them stuff, they're gonna think you're crazy, or you know. So if you say, hey, that guy's gonna raise from the dead, they're not gonna believe you, obviously, and that's a good thing. It's good that mortals aren't aware of this stuff. But I feel like you could have done something else other than just no explanation. Just as like I remember you saying like he enters, casts a spell, leaves, refuses to elaborate. This character could have been if he did something else, he could have been cooler. Anyway, yeah, it's just you know the story kind of reminds me a little bit of one of those short stories by Edgar Allan Poe or his contemporaries. It reminds me of those stories I read as a
Very gothic feel.
the
Yeah, I
yeah the gothic
understand.
horror because it's in the good old days when it came out
Yeah,
essentially.
that we read back when.
Yeah, yeah. So kind of
Yeah, yeah, I can see where you're going.
it has that vibe. The thing is, it doesn't feel like it fits along with the format of analog horror. It just something's weird about it. It just doesn't. I don't know.
I can possibly, I don't begin to understand what you're explaining.
Because analog horror is
Because
more about like it's about the actual medium of cameras and all that stuff. It like it matters to the story usually, and here it just the fact that it's filmed with cameras doesn't really matter because we like you could just have like you could just film it regularly and it would be the same. The analog aspect doesn't really matter to the story. It's like kind
no,
of
the cameras are always stationary; they're never moving.
except when she
So that's
grabs
also
the camera and we get a first person.
well, yeah.
For some reason, honestly, I don't get why. It's just so we can see her grabbing the thing. Once again, the common sense in this story is a little weird. It's yeah, bit couple things that just take me out of it. But it
I
had it
could try to argue that maybe it's because she was trying to record what it was at that point, what was happening to her, no longer
maybe
what was happening at the wake. But
maybe I don't
yeah,
know.
it's still a little bit forced, I guess.
It was promising, but then it just didn't deliver. That's how I feel.
Should yeah, uh,
So how would you rate?
probably gonna give it like I don't know, 6 empty caskets out of 14 graves.
Thought you were gonna say sliced heads, but that's good too. So that's it. All right, my time to shine, I guess. So, the next short in this series is called The Subject. And it starts with what immediately is a shot that, when we saw it the first time, we were like, what the hell? It was the head of a person connected to a sort of like a spider, a mechanical spider body. A failed experiment because it immediately catches fire. But the guy who made it extinguishes the flames and he turns towards the camera. It's this Indonesian doctor, Dr. James. And this is a man that I can understand almost perfectly. This is a character that speaks to me in a lot of ways, as you can probably imagine. Except for the fact that, still a mortal, after all. But this Dr. James is in a mission that I'm also in, although I would consider myself quite a... excuse my lack of modesty, but a notch above. So this doctor is attempting to enhance the human body. And the way he conducts his experiments is he kidnaps people. By the way, this is in Indonesia. I forgot. I don't know if I mentioned that. In Jakarta. So he's got this facility underground in Jakarta, and he just kidnaps people to conduct his little enhancement experiments, in which he, I guess, chops people up and uses the body parts and kind of combines them with mechanical parts to create cyborgs. And we see this tape that he, because he's recording these logs in these tapes, and he has two subjects, which are his most recent specimens. One is a male, one is a female. Subjects 98 and 99, respectively. And we see him sawing the
sawing. Like, yeah, he's at a chainsaw.
He literally has like one of those like rotary saws, and he saws off the top part of the cranium of the female and removes. I love how he just plops the brain out, which isn't very realistic. You would have to cut the cord and all that stuff, but well, whatever. That kind of took me a little away from the movie for a second, but I can forgive something like that. He just plops the brain out, and the other guy starts waking up, and he sedates him quite violently. We then see footage that appears to be from a first-person perspective, and at first it's like you're like, wait, what is this? Like, is somebody filming this? But no, it is internal footage from a system that the doctor implanted into this girl's head. For now, we don't even know what it looks like, but it's internal footage from the system. And when she wakes up and he realizes that she's woken up, he's in glee. He's rejoiced with the success, as I would also be. That's
understandable.
That's beautiful. That's crazy. Like when you create something, like it's like you've given birth. It feels amazing. Feels incredible. And this actor actually plays that role quite well. He's absolutely just rejoiced.
He's almost laughing himself to tears.
Yes. The part that is quite because we see this from the perspective of the patient. The part that is quite chilling is that you can hear what appears to be a distorted mumbling coming from, I guess, what remains of her vocal cords. I'm not sure. But there seems to be this kind of like this tension, this this voice that's trying to come out, but it can't quite come out. And then she kind of turns, the doctor also turns, they turn towards a TV screen. And on TV, there's the broadcast talking about the disappearances in Jakarta. because apparently this doctor hasn't been very sneaky in his kidnappings.
It doesn't really know how to.
We've
He's
we've
very
been
good
there.
at science, not great at cleaning
Yeah,
up his mess.
we've been there. It's not easy, but there are some tricks. But this, yeah, once again, this dude is still learning. Um, and we see like some kind of riots or like some tension between the police and the people who are obviously um scared, and it's causing some problems. And on screen we see an image of a girl who has disappeared. One of the people that have disappeared. It's initials SA. And once again, that noise from the throat, it shows that this was the woman that is, that is this patient.
Yeah, she's reacting to seeing
She's
herself on TV.
she's recognizing her face, which already shows something weird going on. And the doctor realizes that. He looks at her, and he's like, "Oh, first of all, he says like, simpletons, they don't understand what I'm trying to do," which is also like could have been me saying that.
Understandable.
Yes. But he realizes that she recognized herself, which is not good, because when usually when you create a new organism, you are trying to erase the previous self. You don't really want those memories to corrupt your creation. And he realizes that she still has her previous consciousness connected to her. And so he goes ahead and he tries to fix that.
He does remark how impressive that is, though.
Yes, if he and this once again shows that he is not that knowledgeable in the field, and he's honestly, he should have studied way more to already be doing practical experiments. He should have studied so much more in the occult realms, in the consciousness, all that stuff, because he's got some faults. There's some flaws here. Because first of all, okay, this is stuff that I shouldn't be revealing, but I'm going to try to not reveal too much because it is my secrets. There's a reason why if you remove parts of somebody's brain, they still maintain their own consciousness. In fact, the consciousness isn't just in the brain. It is, what connects the soul to the body, and the entire nervous system plays a role in that.
Call it spirit.
Yes. So if you just imagine if you just chop somebody's brain off, if they don't die, obviously, you could still access some of that, the soul, which still has the memories and the self. So that's part of the reason why I can still, I replace parts of my brain every week, and I'm still me, obviously. So yeah, for some reason he doesn't know this fact, but anyway.
Saving the analysis for later. Yeah, just
Yeah, sorry,
back.
I kind of went off. Sorry, this is very
Personal. I understand. Yes.
Yeah, it's very personal.
I should have cut you off sooner.
Yeah, if that happens again, warn me.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it's the next scene or the previous scene, but I feel like there was another scene here that I got in my notes in which he's kind of showing the Vitruvian Man from Da Vinci.
Mm-hmm.
And he's explaining. He says, "Quote: They say that the Vitruvian Man is Da Vinci's crusade to push the boundaries of the human body." I don't know the rest of it. I know he says something after this, but essentially, yeah, like he just shows his interest, his absolute devotion to this crusade.
Was yeah. Care much for the word crusade.
Oh, sorry.
Fine.
His mission, and he tries to remove the memories from 99, but 99 is resisting. She starts to remove her restraints, like actually trying to escape her restraints. The doctor grabs a plate and he starts bashing her in the head, I guess to stop her from resisting, which honestly, that is so unprofessional. Like, excuse me,
Yeah,
you
he's
don't
letting.
Yeah, he's
You are also stop.
Oh, sorry.
Let's
Once
just keep to
again.
the facts again.
Once again, it's taking this very personally.
I'll cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
As they are struggling, he realizes that the police are onto him. Like they're at the door. They're about to confront him.
Mhm.
And they honestly they don't even give him a chance at a fair trial. They just gun him down.
Yeah.
They are recording this, by the way. There's a guy, one of the police officers does not have a gun. He only has a camera, and he's forced by the leader, the commanding officer, to record the entire thing.
It's yeah. It's a Jono, by the way.
Yeah,
The
thank
dude's
you.
name.
You have the names. I'll get the thing.
Mhm.
Um, they look around. The Jono, the camera guy, pukes at the site, or someone. I know that someone pukes at the site
No,
of something.
I think it's him. Yeah, something like that.
But eventually they come close to 99, right? It's 99?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, camera head. He comes really close to her, and when he's about to turn back, because they're commenting on how she's no longer human, a good thing that she's dead, just put like a blanket over her or something.
Oh yeah. There's an entire moral discussion around this.
Yeah, if she's either human or not. Anyway, he moves and grabs the guy who just jumps out, and the police officers decide to kill her. They shoot her out. The lights go out, and
Mhm.
we see her scurrying away
Oh yeah.
into the dark. It's actually very funny.
One of
The
the
police and
guys. Yeah. For some
go
reason,
on.
this is the part that's a bit confusing to me. I mean, not the only one, but this is where the short enters its action phase. They realize that they are stuck there. And I don't know when that happened. I don't know what the trigger was, but for some reason,
Because they forced their way through a locked door, and that triggered what's supposed to be
yeah,
anti-invasion or anti-raid measures.
yeah, a contingency plan
Yeah,
by a doctor.
exactly.
But honestly, I feel like they were trying to escape the facility. That's the
Yeah,
part
yeah,
that's weird. Like, for
probably.
some reason, they
Or
locked themselves
explore
in there.
everything.
I don't
I'm
know.
not
Like
sure.
it feels like they locked themselves in there. I don't know. I don't know how that happened. It just
My
happened.
notes say that they forced their way through a locked door. But
Yes,
again, it doesn't
but
really matter. They
yeah,
triggered those safety measures.
yes, and we hear the recording of the doctor saying, "If you're hearing this, it's because I'm dead. My creations are mine alone, and those who try to take it from me shall die." And patient 98 wakes up. Oh yeah, because I forgot to mention he was working on the other one, and he had like these kind of bladed arms. And yeah, when he wakes up, he's got this robotic face, like a set of eyes that kind of look like snail eyes, just like at the top of the head. It's really weird,
It
and it just
looks
starts.
weird.
It looks weird. I like this guy. This doctor does not have a sense of aesthetic. Gotta be honest. Like
And I mean, okay, listen. There's weird, like good weird, and
yes, yes.
there's
What I'm saying
plain
is
old
like
strange,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it looks
You
kind of
look,
okay.
it looked aesthetically unpleasing.
Yeah, and I understand he was just making experiments, like I'm also not, all my
Oh yeah,
sketches don't look very good, obviously, prototypes. But anyway, sorry, once again taking this personally.
yeah, I
uh
understand you have a lot of feelings about this one.
yeah. He starts killing
Essentially,
everybody.
it turns everyone into shish kebabs. We see that the camera girl tries to run away from from 98's rampage and falls through the doctor's room and his notes. We understand that the doctor clearly had his own object of obsession. There's
Mhm.
someone we see through a lot of pictures. The girl sees herself in a mirror,
Oh, not to mention that
and
she actually has before that she finds the notes. She finds there is this sketch for a prototype of a gun arm, which she
oh
realizes it is
right,
the
right,
the
right.
the right arm that is missing from her. She also has this. There's a cylinder that's covered by a cloth. She takes out the cloth, and it's the
The
half
head of the
of her head that is missing. That's been preserved in a jar of formaldehyde. And then she approaches the mirror and we see for the first time what she looks like. And man,
He's got a camera for a head.
yeah, it's
Messy.
it's got like it's got a single eye, like a single lens in the middle. It's got like several microphones along the perimeter.
I feel like
It's just it's hideous. Yeah, then she finds the cannon that the doctor was working on. Oh, she actually finds somebody else because she kind of walks
oh, she
around.
hears
She
someone
hears
calling for
somebody
her.
calling for help. It's a
A
cyborg.
doll.
Like it's a
It's
oh
a little
god,
doll,
yeah.
like a talking doll.
Yeah, and then she enters another room and there's this woman or what remains of this woman laying down on a surgical table and with essentially her guts or part of her guts being replaced by machinery from what I recall.
Oh, she's still alive, right?
And she's still alive. Yes, there's something around her
I
neck,
remember that.
probably keeping her alive or sedated or
Eating
something.
her, yeah, her body's like splayed open. She's like,
Yeah, like yeah,
I remember, yeah, I remember.
dude forgot to I guess okay, I understand. You know, he's probably got short attention span. He probably wants to start way too many projects. I understand. I've been there as well. Can't focus on a
We'll
single
get to
project at
it. We'll
once.
get to it.
Yeah, sorry. It's hard. It's really hard.
I know.
Okay, but
Okay, so
essentially,
let's just skip to it. She shows her mercy and terminates the connection between her body and the machine. She just dies out.
yeah. And then she finds the gun and equips the gun in her arm.
Yeah, we get a first-person view from here on out. Just her
Oh yeah,
going on her own little rampage.
she goes Doom mode. She goes like
She goes what?
Berserk. Oh, sorry. Do you remember that video game from the 90s? Doom.
Is that the one where you kill demons?
Yes.
Why would I play that?
Right. That's why I had to throw it out. I forgot. Anyway, she starts killing everybody until she gets to Juno. And Juno is like, he's never did anything wrong to her. He doesn't even have a gun, I don't think. Juno recognizes her. He's like, oh, you're that girl from TV. I can get you out of here. Please just don't kill me. Please, I just
I want to be alive.
yeah. And
That's
like yeah,
what
no,
she
like
said too.
no, because he asks her what does she want,
Yeah,
and she just
and she says
says
just to
to
live.
live. And he's like, yes, me
too.
too. He's almost like kind of like awkwardly just like nodding, yes, me too. And so they kind of go together to try and escape. Because at this point, she's like, okay, there's somebody I can rely on. But then the boss shows up.
This
And
guy
he-
is a religious fanatic. Okay, all of these creatures to him are monsters. They are not people. They are
Yep.
abominations onto the eyes of God. All right, that's just the image that I want you to have of this guy.
Yep,
Continue.
that's accurate. That's accurate. If I remember correctly, he starts shooting in 99. She falls down a set of stairs, but his gun runs out of ammo. And then he's trying to get another gun, and Juno kind of gets in his way, and they start like brawling. While 99 is like just trying to like recompose herself. She's probably broken something. Juno can't really fight this guy. He kind of just falls to the floor. The dude, grabs. He doesn't actually grab a gun. I think he just goes to 99 and he tries to like beat her up with his bare hands. I think it's a really weird scene in which he's ripping off like her cables essentially. He's just in her face. For some reason, like this short loves to do this, just like show like the face like really close and personal of the person. He's just like ripping her cables and just like crunching. He's just insane. He's just deranged. And then we hear a gunshot, and Juno had gotten another gun and he shot his own boss in the back, and he's like, "I'm sorry." He's like almost like shaking with his gun,
But
pointing at
because
him.
no good deed ever goes unpunished.
Right. 98 shows up, and he attacks. He just kind of like grabs Juno, trying to chop him up. But then 98 gets up and rips 98's brain off to stop that from happening, even though that was too late because Juno was already bleeding out. And then she also, yeah, because this whole time there's been like a battery counter at the one of
Yeah,
the
in the camera,
corners.
right. Foreshadowing,
Yeah,
which
and
sometimes is relatively obvious.
yeah, and that is supposed to represent like her life or something. Not necessarily.
Or state, I mean, it's a visual
Yeah,
representation of our
yeah,
machines to power down or power up again, whatever.
yeah. And she basically the camera runs out, and then after that, so as she is laying down next to Juno's also dying, and they both kind of die together. But then we see a shot from a security camera in which she actually gets up and walks away. So she is somehow fine from all that. I mean,
Just
it is an
resting, right? Is all.
enhancement, so who knows? And I think that's the end, right?
Yeah. Okay, now,
Okay, now.
please rail on it. Go ahead.
Oh, I have a lot of thoughts about this, as you might guess. So I already kind of explained what I think about the Doctor. The Doctor as well. He's clearly like a beginner. He's got a lot of hubris to believe that he can get away with kidnapping random people from Jakarta without concealing himself too much. He hasn't changed his location, so it was quite easy for the SWAT team members to find it. Rookie mistake, been there. And other than that, I did think that his depiction was pretty realistic for mortal of that caliber.
Someone
You know,
who is completely uninitiated and pretty much self-taught. Like
yes,
the problem
and
with that is sometimes those first mistakes end up costing you your life
yeah, and
before you can spare more than one.
well, I used to be like that, and then I did an experiment on myself, and it turned me into this. And to be honest, at first I thought it was a failure, but I just got better, so much
Winning.
better. Hashtag winning.
What?
Sorry, these brain parts of teenagers are corrupting my memories. Anyway, this okay. I gotta explain a bit of backstory behind, not backstory. I gotta explain a bit of the person that created this. His name is Timo Jajanto. I'm
And we're
sorry.
sorry for butchering pronunciations, by the
Yeah,
way.
I'm sorry. I do not know Indonesian, or if that's Indonesian. He's an Indonesian filmmaker, and he makes action movies and horror movies. And you can really tell, and that's why I feel like if you watch this compared to the other shorts, and you'll see the next one in a bit, one is not like the others. Clearly, this short, it feels very different in tone and in just appearance and in almost everything from the others. It really stands out to me, and it's weird. It feels like it doesn't belong here.
By this point, you should have noticed that there's a theme that is like connecting these stories. Even in the interludes that we get, which are called Holy Hell,
Mhm.
in itself very tongue-in-cheek. The stories they're all about religion somehow. And
Sorry, but we'll
yeah,
we'll analyze at the end
I
also.
understand that.
But
But
but but go
I'm
on.
just trying to explain that it does feel like you have to stretch it a little bit to fit this, or sorry, you have to push it a little bit to fit this story through this story's peg in the
Yeah.
same ones, in the same holes that we've been putting the other ones, you know?
Yeah. No, this one kind of threw me off in that way, which is it's very different. And it feels very cyberpunky. It
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Cyberpunk. I know we don't watch a lot of Cyberpunk, because it's not really our
I'm
thing.
aware of the genre,
Okay, so yeah, it's
but
the whole
in
thing of like
reading, yeah,
so Cyberpunk has this, this stuff of the cyborgs and in mechanical enhancements and all that stuff.
everything is powered by technology somehow, even the
Yeah,
human body.
and it really played into that here, which I don't know, it feels off to me. It had some interesting thing like commentary of that whole thing. I really enjoy that kind of moral questioning, that whole philosophy of like, oh, is it okay to hurt something if it doesn't feel like where's the line when it stops being human, and is it okay to kill it if it's not human? All that stuff. I
Easy
enjoy
as
that.
human.
Yes. Once again, that's stuff that also exists in Cyberpunk a lot. In horror, not as much, because horror is more focused on, and that's kind of what I want to get to is,
The story had a lot of body horror. I'll give it that.
yes, it's got a lot of body horror. It's got some horror. It's got horror elements to it, absolutely. But it feels like it's not pure. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels
Agreed, definitely agreed.
there's a lot of action, like a lot of action, which by the way is very different from like very differently written and filmed from horror, because horror is based on you're running away. Like the action you get in horror usually
It's
is just
atmosphere and mood.
it's atmosphere, mood. You might get some like fast movements when you're like running away from something or something like that, but like action is very minimal in horror because it's not fear, like it's reaction,
Yep,
like jump scares and all that stuff is just, it's not what fear is made out of.
it's lizard brain.
Lizard brain, exactly. And here we get a lot of action of like we don't even know what the monster is, because technically it's like we are seeing it through the lens, literally, of a creature that was created, but we also empathize with it. So it's like we don't really, and she's still kind of human. So it's like it's really confusing of like who am I supposed to root for? It creates also that in trying to explore that whole ethical aspect, it forgets to create a monster, I guess, or to create somebody that we should root for. And yeah, it's kind of, what I'm trying to
I
say.
guess we're kind of torn because at the same, we can argue that there's more than one monster. There's more than
Yes, because
one
I'm
person
because
that you're trying to
I'm
root for, but at the same time, they all feel a little bit incomplete.
yeah.
The monster ones, yeah, I mean, Subject 98 is horrible, and he cleans through the officers like a slasher.
Mhm.
Then you have the doctor himself, obviously, who acts as a sort of Frankensteinian or Victor
Yes.
Frankenstein type villain, if you
Yes.
want to call Victor Frankenstein a villain. And obviously, the police officer, the leader, the commanding officer,
Hmm.
who, in being a complete religious fanatic, fails to understand that this thing still has a soul.
Yeah. So yeah, it's got a lot of sides to it, and I mean that's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just I feel like it wasn't very. It had a lot of ideas, but they kind of just don't really fit together as well as it could have, I guess.
Yep.
We got a little bit of psychological horror with the whole like when 98 are like discovering her like what has been done to her, and that scene with the mirror and all that stuff, that was pretty interesting. But then after that we get like action, and oh yeah, because I need to mention the action is, in general, the effects are not great. The effects, it's a low budget film, I get it, but
Why
I feel
not
like,
make it practical?
yeah, they tried. I think they went over the top and they kind of bit more than they could chew in that regard. Because, for example, there's a scene that I remember distinctively. There's several that I remember, in which so she has her like cyborg arm, and she runs out of bullets, and she turns into like she kind of like it's got like several modes. It's like a gun, but it's also like a grenade launcher, and she launches a grenade, or a bomb or something into a guy, and it gets stuck in the guy's stomach or something, and then like 1 second later it explodes, and like his top half is blown out, and you just see like his legs kind of fall over. And I remember I mentioned this. It feels kind of cartoonish. Like it kind of
Yeah.
it felt like a video game, like one of those like crazy video games. I know you don't really play those, so you don't get it. But it just feels so. It's too
It felt
much.
weird, regardless. Yeah.
It's too much. And once again, like it was almost funny. Like I almost laughed at that. And that's not what you wanna. That's not the reaction you want to
No,
get with horror. It's like
definitely not.
it really the tone is all over the place. That's what I mean. The
Yeah, I
tone
agree.
is completely all over the place.
And it dragged out for
Oh
a
yes.
little bit. Yeah, it could have skipped a bit on the action scenes, and
Yeah.
you would have
There's
saved time and probably overall up the quality of this
mhm.
piece
Yeah,
by cutting stuff. Like,
because it was
imagine that.
yeah,
Less is more.
yeah, because that's the thing. It's trying too much. It's trying to be too many things at once, and
Yeah,
it can't be any of them.
it just doesn't
Yeah.
really
Like for
do any
example,
of them.
yeah, and the effects. Like for example, there's lots of situations in which characters are getting shot, and there's a delay between the
Oh
bullet
yeah,
hitting them and their body reacting. Oh,
stuff
there's
you
a
can fix in
yeah, you can.
post, as
Yeah,
you people say nowadays.
that's what the thralls
It's
do. Yeah, to our
yeah, that's what
to
they say all
us.
the time.
Yeah.
They say that my voice is shrieking loud and that they can fix it in post, whatever that means.
I mean, I listen to it sometimes. It's actually quite nice. The edits that they make. So
I nowhere near those
you don't even
technophobe.
you don't
I
even
coined the
listen
term
to the
technophobe, by the way.
nice.
Me?
Wait, you don't listen to our podcast
What?
while you're working, while you're like stalking and killing?
No.
Oh man,
Where would I listen to them?
like
Now that we don't have wax recordings, vinyl or anything analog, I can't. It's just don't work with technology.
you
You
really
know this.
wow, damn.
Like I have this thing in front of me. This. Ow. Sorry. I don't know if that hurt anyone.
Yeah, you have the microphone.
Anyway,
Like microphones are okay. Okay,
rate
that's
this piece
yeah,
because
that's something.
we're
Yeah,
already
wait,
spending too
wait.
much time.
Okay,
Oh, you
okay.
have more to say? Go on. If you have
I
more to
have
say, go on.
more to say. It's just it's just details. As I said, like that's funny that when the doctor is shot, once again, it's very unrealistic the way that his body reacts. It's like he's standing and just like getting like a, like basically he does a bullet dance.
Yeah.
It's just no, like the first shot you're already on the floor. Like you don't stand there waiting for the bullets to end,
Now that you
and
mentioned it,
then
I remember the delay, and that was absolutely
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. Um, and like the whole timing, the way it's shot, like again shot like an action movie. Like for example, when Juno is like shooting his boss, and then a 98 shows up behind him, is like, how did he not hear like a giant metal thing coming towards him?
Clank, clank, clank.
It's yeah, I don't know.
You can find another Lord of Hell to call upon.
True. I mean, it's just habit.
Yeah.
Okay. Rating this thing. Oh. Um. Oh. Fuck. Gotta bleep
Oh,
that.
no. Oh,
Gotta
God.
bleep that. I will rate the subject. This is tough. 5 camera heads out of 12 cyborg arms.
Or
You would give it 4?
just 4.
Just 4.
Yep.
It's hard to give it a number because it
Be glad I don't give it a question mark. You're right.
yeah, like I want to give it higher, but I can't. I physically can't. It's just giving it a 5 is already
Need to get you longer legs.
Wow. Giving it a 5 is already, I think, giving it quite a service. Anyway.
Anywho, last story, and let's try. I'm gonna try to keep it short because I feel like
Oh,
this is already.
I think this last one is pretty easy to
Yeah,
summarize.
it's a fun one actually. This I feel like they wanted to go out on a bang, and that's what we got. No pun intended.
Eh,
Um, story is called Terror, and it's about a group of let's just go ahead. The story starts in a snowy field, and we see a bunch of Americans. You know they're Americans because
the
they're
most
speaking Texan.
the most cliche American militia you've ever seen. These guys.
Yeah. And they are in a barn, a small barn. They're like covered in crosses,
Yep.
and they speak some sermon, and essentially just this guy is just pleading for his life. They remove his bounds, and after the sermon is done, they just shoot him in the head, like point blank. Just no chance of missing. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Mhm.
The First Patriots Movement militia is essentially a group of religious moralists who believe that America has well, lost its moral values and is in need of a cleansing, whatever that means. They need to take America back, and they seem to be planning a heist on a federal building.
Yeah. Or to do something to it, I guess. To
Yeah, sorry. I have in my notes heist, but we later figure
oh
out that we have
yeah,
more plans. Yeah, they intend to
it's an
blow
attack.
up this place. Yeah.
It's an attack. Yes.
They intend to give like a show of force. We're out here. We're here. We're Sorry, I can finish that sentence. Um, and they scout it out. They realize that the place has babies. My notes. I'm thinking that they might try to kidnap the babies and take them to indoctrinate them. I don't know.
Yeah, because I probably can't kill them because Christianity, I guess. But
Yes.
honestly, so sorry, I just need to say this. So they're gonna try to attack this place, to blow it up. Can you guess how they are going to do that? Because we could not.
But like,
Continue.
keep your guesses. Keep your guesses until the end of the story because it's going to be amazing. We back at their ranch, their holdout. Cops is giving like they're stockpiling weapons like it's Waco to survive whatever happens after this thing, and Cop is really on their side, showing them that the thin blue line is really thin. Apparently, we figure out that the guy that they kill is always the same guy.
Yeah, because they keep killing him over and over.
Yeah.
Or shooting him, I guess.
Yeah, shooting me in the head. So I think one of them as like, do you even know if this thing works? And the leader of the movement has a moment of realization. In his head, it was at this moment that Greg knew he f***ed up.
So they decide to extract some of the blood of this individual and I guess inject it into a bunny, into a into a white rabbit.
Yeah, it's a bunny. Yeah, I hear white albino rabbit.
Yes, yeah. And this is done at night. They have the rabbit on a cage out in the open at dawn, and they're waiting for the sun to rise. And when the sun rises, the bunny blows up like of TNT. 2 tons.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Like it's no, not that much, but like it's a big explosion.
Yes.
It's big, okay? For the size of the rabbit that we just watched, it made a big explosion. So at this moment, me and Nathan were making our theories. Not yet though. They decide to celebrate. So now that they know that this thing works, they're moving forward with the plan. They're going to show it. They stick it up to the man by blowing up children, I guess. They get pissed drunk the night before, and I guess some of them decide to mess with the creature.
Oh yeah.
So they go and poke it, have fun with it, and it ends exactly as you guess, as you think it's going to end. It's a creature of the night. It's
Yep.
going to be strong at night. That's why they kill it in the morning, I guess. Anyway, shit gets out of control.
Oh yeah. Real fast. A guy
It's
was covered in his blood, in the blood of the creature. When he gets out, he blows up. That like startles one dude who's like at top of a like he's in a machine gun. He starts shooting everything and kills like 2 people or 3 people, and then he's shot in the head. It just all hell breaks loose at this point.
yeah, the sun is almost rising because I guess they're in a place with higher latitude. Therefore, takes a little longer for the sun to get up. Nights are longer. So I guess the creature still has some time to do whatever it wants to do. It's hiding in darkness, but it still has some movement within this. And this is where we get confirmation of what the creature is. If you guessed anything else other than vampires, you were wrong. This movie effectively retcons the sparkling
Oh yes.
vampire trope and pushes it to its utmost overdose level of exaggeration.
Yeah, vampires don't burn in the sunlight. They
They
blow up in the sunlight.
explode. It's
Can you imagine what a world this must be in? Like being a vampire in this setting must be just
absolutely mental.
you are a bomb. Like you could use yourself, kamikaze yourself to kill like so many people just at once being a vampire. This
Or
is
just because
just
you fell asleep in the wrong place.
yes, accidentally blows up because you stood up too late. Because you overslept. Oh man, it's this is. I was speechless. I still am kind of speechless at this. It's crazy.
Let me just go back straight to the ending because this ends in a fantastic way. The vampire gets his revenge by slaughtering like all of them, almost all of them, until he has the leader cornered, begging for his life. No, he's not begging for his life. He's what was he saying? I wasn't taking notes honestly, but he was quoting some religious nonsense, repeating it over and over. And I guess the vampire just he had enough. They managed to remove a vampire's will to live or to
Yep.
unlive in this case.
Yeah, he sacrifices himself by opening up for some reason.
The sunroof,
Yeah.
like a dome-shaped thing.
What the heck? And he blows himself with the leader.
Yeah, the entire compound gets blown up.
Man, it's
Back watching this, I thought this is so dumb. I don't like it. But in retrospect, I love it. It's so dumb, I love it. This was probably, forget what I said earlier. This was the best story out of all of them.
I don't.
Okay,
I don't agree.
Of course,
I don't agree with that. I think it's because that's the thing. If it was all like this, like if the entire anthology was stuff like this, I would have enjoyed it. But this to me was just so. It was so out of what I like because I didn't know what to expect anymore at this point. Because we got the we got that amazing intro, the sewage
strong.
drain, the storm drain.
Storm
Then we
drain.
got that weird one that I didn't understand. Then we got the subject,
What's this?
And then we get this, and at this point, I'm like, okay, the tone of this anthology is all over the place. I don't know what I should take for granted because this is just I was so confused. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're analyzing specifically this. It's just I can't take it seriously. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's more of I think it's more of a critique on the white supremacist, extremist, radical, terrorist group.
It's a
I
parody,
forgot to put
I
the religious
guess.
part in there.
Oh yeah,
But
religious, very religious, yes.
yeah,
But it's like it's if that's a critique, it's just it's a parody. It
yeah,
doesn't. It's not like you know.
parody is still a valid type of critique.
Sure, but it's at this point, it's like it's making fun of these guys to a point where I mean, obviously, I always like seeing the monster win, but in this situation, it's like I really was like, just die already. Like none of these characters are likable. Even the vampire is like we barely know what he's like, you know.
Yeah, you just know that he's killed every day, and to me,
Mm,
that's enough to be sympathetic towards him.
sure, yes, he's a victim. Like literally, he's a victim of these guys that are using him, and then he takes revenge on them. But yeah, it's like
It wasn't really horror. I'll give you
it
that.
was not. Yeah, no, I did not consider it horror.
But I like looking back, it was. I feel like it was so bad that it was good.
No,
It's one
okay,
to me is one of those.
so bad it's good.
Yeah. That might be the wine talking.
I don't know. I just don't. I don't see it like that. Like I remember at this point, like I basically stopped
Taking notes, I
taking
assume.
notes because like
Yeah.
it was just yeah, exploding vampires. That's it. Like I just summarized to you the entire thing. It's just that's it. It's just man. What would you rate this?
I'm gonna give it a strong, like, and I mean this. This is 7 pairs of fangs out of 7 waiting necks.
I, uh, I don't agree with that, but uh,
Obviously, I'm not rating it in the scale of horror. I'm just this is my personal enjoyment, and these points matter nothing.
true. Yes.
I was entertained by this. It doesn't feel as bad as I felt when I was watching it.
Hmm.
Because it was just meant to be stupid fun. And if it wasn't, it came across like that.
I guess. So, oh, by the way, coming back to the framing device, I guess.
Holy hell.
Holy hell.
Yes. Quick recap. So we have a SWAT team that's been going through a building, finding people um, with their eyes gouged out, pools of blood everywhere. There's a weird message going on PA systems telling them to find the signal and track the signal. They find even a mock church service, okay, with eyes in pools of blood, resting in the pews, and dead people, and mannequins and shit. And I assume that most of these SWAT members are dying one by one until there's only the leader left.
And it's revealed that the women have been doing this the whole time.
The 2 women of the SWAT team have been doing this, and the guy's saying, I don't understand what's going on. And they're asking, like, it's ironic because you were just in this last movie. You were the guy that was handling the guns or whatever it was that they said. I stopped
Yeah, I
taking
just
notes because at this point,
I wasn't paying attention really. I know there's a line that just it made me laugh out loud that they say. What was it? Like they said something really strange. Wasn't it like oh, man, I don't
was it
remember.
about the guy being the one that was supplying the militia with the guns?
Yeah, no. They said that as well, but they like about themselves, they said like we are
Ah, right. Because they are the society that, or like a society, whatever,
Mhm.
that trades in these snuff tapes, and that they've been operating out of this warehouse. and they create and distribute this sort of content. And I guess that they're telling him, informing the guy that he's going to be their final kill. Oh, right, because they're the final girls, right?
That's it.
Wasn't that it?
Something
Oh,
like that.
it was
Yeah, it
supposed to
made me
be an
laugh.
inversion of the final girls trope, and it was so awful
Yeah,
because
it was bad.
the framing device is explored for a total of 5 minutes or less. Actually,
Yes.
it might have less screen time than that, and I have absolutely no way of being related to these characters. I feel no
Yeah, yeah.
connection to them.
Exactly.
If I felt
Yeah.
little with the other ones, with these ones even more. I feel like this is
I don't
supposed to be
remember
a
their
part of a
names.
bigger thing. Like we were supposed to know these girls from one of the other movies in the continuity. If that was the case, I mean,
I don't know.
predictable as
Yeah,
if that
also,
wasn't the
yeah.
case, I don't get
It's
it.
it's weird. I don't. Yeah, I also just don't really get what the hell that was supposed to be. And
Examining it as a singular piece, it just I know I remember that most of them were making weird faces every time they looked at the camera. Like I even mentioned that one of them is going to betray the party. Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I remember you saying like, oh, they're all gonna die.
yeah,
Clearly.
obviously they're all going to die, but I remember saying specifically that this one is going to betray the rest. And
Nice. Yeah,
that one of them is the
you were
rest
right.
of the. It was in the end of the movie, but it was too obvious, you know. It was
Yeah.
like it had to be too obvious because they had so little screen time, you know.
Right. Like they were trying to do a story, but it's like I didn't pay attention. I didn't sympathize with any of the characters. It was just something happening in the background that I just, yeah, hard to keep track. Then they one of them grabs the camera and decides to kill the guy by bashing the lens of the camera in his head repeatedly. Kind of a weird way to kill somebody, I guess if you're into that stuff. But it's, yeah, we just see like the guy with his face completely destroyed in the on the floor. Um, and then the other girl is like, "Man, this is like our best tape yet. What should we call it?"
Full credits.
Roll credits. I don't know why there's this trope of ending a movie with like, because Skinamarink was the same thing. It's like it ended with a question: "Who are you? What's your name?" In this one, it ends, "What should we call it?" What is this trope of analog horror of ending with a question like that? I don't know. I've started to notice a pattern here.
Wish I could answer the question, but I really don't have an answer.
Yeah. Okay, so we've kind of already analyzed most of this. There's not much left to say, I don't think,
Yeah,
other than the entire thing. How does it like fit together? Because I don't think it felt, again, it felt all over the place. It felt like
the only really link that I could find between all of these stories is
the
religion.
religious, yeah.
Yeah, the religious aspect of all of them. The first one is about a cult.
Mm.
So there's this new god that he equates to Jesus. So being God made flesh in front of a new group that they're going to start a new movement. The second, obviously, a guy coming back from the dead. How much Jesus can you go?
Yeah.
The third one, not really directed towards Christianity because I think Indonesia is a predominantly Muslim country.
Yes.
But it touches a lot on what it means to be and what makes a human. And yeah, the religious zealotry is in the full display in the character of the commanding officer. And the last one, I remember the phrase that he was repeating now. He was saying Christ is king over and over again.
Uh,
Um,
yep.
it is directly a clash of good and evil, and how the good ones, I'm air quoting here, can do such monstrous things, such as repeatedly killing a guy over and over again every day, every morning as a ritual. Literally, they practiced it as a ritual,
Yeah.
while planning to use his body to destroy a federal building and kill a bunch of their own brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Even in Holy Hell,
Yeah.
the
Clearly.
pews and the mock church service, it was all very in that same vein. I'm not sure if that's the right thing. I'm afraid I might be missing something
Yeah.
that's so obvious to the mere mortal that
I don't
I'm
know.
just not thinking about, I guess.
Once again, with movies like this, I don't know if it's the whole analog horror genre or not, but it always feels like I go into the movie with an expectation or with a certain curiosity of like, oh, so many questions I have. I hope they're all going to be answered. And sometimes they're not answered at all. And sometimes the answer I get is so unsatisfying and just,
That you'd rather not have any answer at all.
yeah, it's like, man, really? That's what it is? And I kind of felt that with this one. Not as in like, I didn't feel, I just felt confused with the entire thing. As you said, like, what is like the whole the only thing that I can kind of use to connect all of them is kind of religion, but even then it feels like it's lacking. It feels forced. It just feels like these were like four separate, and that's what they're. Yeah, it's an anthology, so they are four separate stories, yes, but it just doesn't feel like they fit together. You know, they feel so all over the place. For
Well,
example,
it is what anthology. It's the risk of making an anthology, really.
yeah, because for example, if they were all about reporters or all about, as you said, religious cults, then that would have been something that would connect them. Or if they were all about,
You could infer that they are, because see, while
mm,
not directly, the second story could have been about a resurrecting cult. The incantation that the guy is speaking in Hungarian could have been to assure that the soul passes from one body into another, therefore completing a resurrection and like an actual resurrection in terms of a new body for that spirit, for that soul.
hmm,
The third one, while we have to stretch it, we are witnessing the birth of a new human. Is literally a god giving birth to. He says it himself. The neo. What do you say? Homo sapiens. You call. What do you call them?
uh,
Neo sapiens.
I don't remember that.
What do you call them? I don't remember. But he used the term as if he was giving birth to a new life,
Yes,
as if he was God.
yes, yes.
So that was this little cult, and then you have the other cult being the cult of
The Christian nationalist militia.
they're probably
Muslim.
Wait, you're talking about?
the Indonesian one.
Oh, okay. You're still in that one. I thought you were already like on the other one. Yeah, the SWAT team.
Muslim.
Although it's really just the
Yeah,
that
the
one
aspect
guy.
what matters is the fundamental zealotry that's there, the cult-like mentality that this commanding officer has. And then the last one, it's obviously a cult, so
Yeah.
there's not much I can say.
But even then, it feels a little.
Yeah, it feels like I'm stretching.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's it. Like it feels like you have to stretch it in order to make sense of it, essentially. Because of course it's an anthology. There were a lot of people, a lot of directors. Each person directed. It was a each story was directed by a different person, and it had different actors and all that stuff. So they were probably all produced separately without any sort of interaction between them. And then there was just this person that did the framing device, and you know the actors who did the framing device and all that stuff, which was kind of, I guess, built around it. But it felt like there was no single direction they were taking it in, unless maybe that vaguely religious topic, as you said. Maybe that was the prompt or something. I don't know. That's how it feels like. Might be wrong.
No, it's hard to interpret because they are all exactly very, very different from each other.
Yep. But the idea, now going kind of a little like going out a bit of the movie, like the idea of something like this, an anthology series that focuses on bringing attention to smaller, I guess, independent filmmakers and wrapping their stories in order to present them to in a more, you know, mainstream way, even though this is very far away from mainstream. But that's the idea is very interesting, and I'm curious to see what other things they come up with, because there's, the other one coming up, the VHS, what is it, VHS 85. Like the format is interesting, so there's a lot of potential here. It's just, yeah, as we said, it's like it's hard to kind of be consistent. The whole idea of the framing device, wrapping it, to present each story for analog horror, it works. It really does fit the format. So they got something there.
Right. Is there anything else you want to say?
Uh, I don't know. I think not.
Well then, as an entire thing, I'm just going to put it like it's a 50-50. It's a hit or miss for me.
So five eyes out of 10 tapes, something like that.
Guess so.
All right. I think you do the honors.
Right. In that case, the candles are out, the circles have been erased, and we will let silence reign again. Grymm Mansion is closing its gates. Have a horrible night. We'll see you next time.